Hello and welcome along to the series finale of Tannadice Tales with Dundee United from FM21. It's going to be an absolute cracker today. We have got 3 more games in charge of this football club. Yes, in a 5-year spell, we broke the old firm dominance once to get in between them in second place. But realistically, we've never posed a regular challenge. Today, though, we can make it all worthwhile. We've got Rangers away in the league. We've got Hibernian away in the league. They're just warm-up events. They're just little occasions. The big one is at the end. Rangers in the Scottish Cup final. And that is where we're going to find out what we're really made of. I don't dress up or do anything fancy for these ones, but I have got my snazziest tie ready for the occasion, just so it feels like a cup final. And touch wood, we'll be able to get a positive result. But good morning to everyone who's coming along. It's lovely to have so many of you waiting already. El Gaming, John, good morning. Thank you for popping in. And don't forget, as always, we'll be live tomorrow morning with Ballymena United. This series might finish, but live streams don't from FM21. That one will be over on Twitch tomorrow morning, so that we're not going to be missing too much. What I will say quickly while we're here, who am I from me coming now? Go on, go for it. We'll get a few in. We've only got 3 games today, so we'll get a couple of who am I's in as well. Just to say also very quickly that when this series finishes up until the Euros, which we'll be doing something different, there's a couple of polls on the community page on YouTube and you can go and vote on those now. But how come this is the final episode? We'll get to that in a second, Jack. There's a very good reason for that. But in terms of the 3 or 4 weeks now leading up to the Euros, we'll do these 2 stream dates that we do here, Tuesday afternoon and Saturday morning, over on Twitch with Ballymena, and have 3 a week there. That's just for the 3 or 4 weeks up to the Euros. So, Jack, how come this is the final episode? Basically, last season in Season 4, we finally met what was supposed to be the long-term objective, the big progression in this series. We passed one of Rangers or Celtic and got into second place. We got into the Champions League. We made it. And then, this season, despite a big summer, despite bringing in the best possible talent we could, we've fallen miles behind again. And it just looks like, and it's something I found probably with Bangor City this season as well, looking at when you get to a certain point, it's very hard to break down. It's not like the old years where you could just do it in 2 or 3 years in particular. I know I don't use the player search screen, the staff search screen, or any of that stuff, but it still has become very difficult. And given how long we've got left in the FM21 cycle, it wouldn't have been possible here with Dundee United. We're about to lose 2 of our best loan players this summer. The next level of transfers just isn't available to get. It's quite a frustrating thing. So, yeah, that's basically the reason for it. I feel like we're going backwards a little now rather than continuing to progress forward. So it's the right time for me and Dundee United. Now, it's not to say that after the Euros, when we've done our extra bits, whether that's on Twitch or here, we'll find out later on, that we'll do another little mini-series, and we've got something unique planned. But for this series, it's reached probably its peak level now. So, unfortunately, that's the reason for it. I reckon you should do a Wrexham save. We're not having that one. Not just yet. There's too many about this year since the takeover. Thank you to everyone popping in as well. It's great to have so many of you here this morning. Please do chuck a thumbs up on it. Jake, good morning. Lovely to have you here. Jack, yeah, makes sense. It's unfortunate. I really thought last summer we'd be able to progress and then maybe finish second again. But even most of the games we've played against the old firm, as I'm sure we'll find out in a few minutes, we just look so far off the pace. It's quite frustrating. Let's get the first Who Am I of the morning going in. I've played for Wrexham, Liverpool, Chelsea and Huddersfield. I feel like that should be quite easy, but for some reason there's no names jumping out at me. It's going to be an interesting start, isn't it? I've got to work out the era too. But thank you all for coming along this morning. It's great to have you here. And hopefully, if nothing else, we'll finish on the grand finale and the brilliant, I was going to say FA Cup final, Scottish Cup final. It is also FA Cup final day as well, which as a football fan for me growing up is my favourite day of the year. So I'm sure we'll talk about that a bit. Jake, what's going to be next? So, as we sort of said, for the 3 or 4 weeks up until the Euros, we'll just do Ballymena 3 times a week on Twitch instead of 1. So we'll do the Tuesday evening, Saturday morning and the current Sunday morning. And then in the Euros, we're potentially going to be doing some watch-alongs of some of the niche games. So there's a couple of polls on the community page which you can vote for, where you'd like to see it and whether you'd like to see it. But I've never made or hidden the fact that I'm a massive football fan. And in the Euros, I don't want to do like the games that are going to be emotionally tied. You know where you've got like the fan TVs and that screaming at the channel and screaming at people, essentially emotionally reacting. I want to watch like Ukraine v Macedonia and just have a bit of a laugh, a laid back chat. We'll play some Who Am I, we'll do some other football quizzes or whatever. Because during the Euros, I don't really want to miss games. And I thought, what better way to keep the streaming up while not missing games than talking to you while the games are on. And then after the Euros, I've got another mini-series planned. The only thing I don't know yet is whether I'll do that here or on Twitch. Probably just depends. I mean, in a month or so, the last month or so, the views on Twitch have probably been about double that for the live streams. And from a technical point of view, what you hear from me is a lot closer to live, so it makes it a lot easier to sort of distinguish. But I'm not that fussed either way. Thank you to everyone popping in. Lovely to see all the regulars here today. Wapos, good morning. Thank you for popping in. Same to Mark as well. Question: Who is the closest manager to your head coach? Oh dear, I'm not awake today. Head coach journey this year. You never really hear about manager journeys. That's a great point, actually. I don't know. I really don't know. I think that's the difficulty, isn't it? You only hear about player journeys normally. It's a really good point. We're going to have a look into that. We'll have a look into that one. If you've got any ideas, get down in the comments and let us know. But I'm not 100% sure yet. L Gaming, Clue 1, give us a second when we get into the game. We'll go for it then. But yeah, that's a really good question, actually. It's something we don't think about, isn't it? I think that's one of the things I will point out from the head coach journey this year in terms of management is a few of you guys mentioned it in Scotland when we were going from Arbroath to Dundee in particular, is that the locality of those first few moves, it was clubs from higher divisions, yes, taking a chance on us, maybe even sooner than we expected, but they were quite local clubs. And I quite like the fact that that was factored into the game. I'll be interested to see if that happens next year, depending on where we start. I would like to add a few slightly different leagues in, just to try and start somewhere unique. But in the meantime, today, everyone's got a light match load, which is great. I've got to take out Ramos. Devine will be in for him. Yasimovic is back to fitness, so he's going to play in at centre-half. Kerr will drop back to the bench. I think, bar Mokri, the rest of my team is first choice here. So I've still got this young Ivanov on the bench. For anyone who missed the last one, he was a star that came for our youth intake. 16-year-old Bulgarian. He's nearly our second best striker already. But at the moment, I'll take out Ali McCann. Mokri will go in and he will replace Dujon Sterling with Serrano swapping sides again. So that is our lineup for this game. If everyone's fit, bar the left back, that will be the one for the cup final as well. So touch wood, we can get a good warm-up today. Clue 1. I've had 3 spells at the racecourse. So 3 spells at Wrexham. Also played for Liverpool, Chelsea and Huddersfield. For some reason, there's a name jumping at me, but I'm just going to check it up first to make sure I don't look ridiculous if I say it. So bear with me a moment. So the person I was thinking of is a ridiculous guess, so I'm not going to go for it. They did, in my defence, they played for 3 of the 4 clubs, and they have played for Wrexham twice, but it's not correct. Let's go and get into this first game today then. 2 warm-ups to start. As I've said to you before, I'm not one for dressing up and acting and all that sort of stuff. I've got my snazziest tie for the cup final, and that is as close to the occasion we're going to get. But a very good Who Am I to start the morning. I'm sure we're going to have plenty of them. I know Dylan will be in tomorrow for his ones. And let's see if we can get a result against Rangers, shall we? And thank you to everyone who supported the Twitch channel as well and got involved over there. There's been so many of the regulars in. And as I say, the support on it's been incredible. So, touch wood. We're making a fist of it. As I've said to you before, and I've never hidden, I'd love to make this part of my job. And I'd love to be able to next year, if things are going well, be able to do both series daily. Be able to do live streams 3 or 4 times a week regularly. And, you know, if I can drop my work hours a bit more, that'll be possible. So we're on the right course. And obviously the food channel's coming as well. So hopefully we'll be all right. Charlie, morning, can we do a J-League podcast? It's become your favourite, hasn't it? I tell you what we should do, Charlie. I know that our co-host Craig is not a morning person so much, apart from when he's working days. Is those free sports games at 7 o'clock in the morning. Let's just get streaming for the Japanese folk around. English people watching Japanese football. What can possibly go wrong, eh? Jack, who was the guess? The guess for who, sorry? Mark, are you going to open this save up after? I'd probably give it a go for a couple of seasons. Absolutely. So when this, it takes about 12 hours to process or whatever it is on YouTube, but then I'll put it in the comments below and it will be available for 2 weeks for anyone who wants to download it. The save file will be here for 2 weeks and you can just carry on. I want to say, maybe let me know, because if you're going to be if any of you are going to do it and use like the player search or the staff search screen, then let me know how it goes by comparison. If that makes it that much easier. Because I've always wondered, how much of a difference does it make? Because the director of football with the ask for suggestions and that, if you've got a good one, they can suggest great players. But it's not quite the same as you having a list of 400 transfer listed players within your budget, is it? So, I guess that's it. Oh, the guest, sorry. My guess was going to be Frank Sinclair, but he didn't play for Liverpool and he only played for Wrexham twice. But he played for Chelsea and Huddersfield, so that's why he came into my head. Charlie, you're on. Absolute thriller this morning. 5-4 Kashima Antlers. I've got to say, the few games that I do watch, because quite often when I get up in the mornings, or particularly like the weekends and occasionally over the pandemic and that, when the Friday and Saturday mornings, the Saturday and Sunday mornings, there's either A-League or J-League football. So I'm watching football from Australia or Japan. And I know you'll obviously be the same with the Japanese league. Because unfortunately we are behind at around the hour mark. But it's a great one to have. SOF, good morning. Another one of the regulars. Thank you for popping in. Much appreciated. As many of you can probably tell, sentences are all over the place today. Jack hire Pat Nevin for the final game. I can't remember where we are in the sequence. I think today, or was it yesterday, we had the 10-year bookmark from the head coach. And we had a very own Pat Nevin segment where we went and had a look at him and saw how he was getting on. I think it was yesterday's. It was. Yesterday's episode of the head coach. Because I record in advance, I can't quite keep up with him. But I would definitely say Pat Nevin for the final. We'll have a look at where he is and how he's getting on, if nothing else. And maybe we'll try and put him in at Dundee United. So maybe he takes over after we go. But we'll break the rules once on our final day. Let's go and make a few changes, shall we? Because things are not looking great here. Our game include too. I think I know who it is. Is it a player that's of a much earlier generation than you and I and most of the people here? Because if it's someone of a very old generation, I think I know who it is. And if it's a Welsh international who won a European Cup with Liverpool, I think I know the name. But I didn't expect it to be his older one. So that's why I wasn't thinking there for a while. Jack Breaking legend, absolutely. Oh, it was. There you go, El Gaming. Started your career in 1973. It's definitely Joey Jones then. I didn't think you'd go that old, so fair enough. Mark, you've changed my way of playing. Now class player search is cheating. It's a weird thing. When I was a teenager and all I wanted to do was win every game, and then I used it and whatever. And I still do use it for the odd series. Like when we did the 1 year save with Luton. Was it last year? Whichever one it was, that I did it then, just to see who are the best players we can get at this football club. But generally speaking, I just find it more challenging, because it is, if you just play with no rules whatsoever yourself, it is normally quite easy to get to the top at some point. Whereas with the player search screen, you're at the peril of your staff. And if you're a poorer club and you've got poorer staff, then you're never going to succeed so much. And more importantly, staffing used to be one of the things I was quite neglectful of. I didn't really pay much attention to what assistants were coming in. I'd often palm it off to the director of football or the assistant manager, whoever it used to be. But doing it yourself, you've got that sense of responsibility now of, I've got to get this right. So I've got someone who's going to suggest good players to me, or I've got someone who's going to make this club a success. I'm going to chuck the Bulgarian youngster on up front, Ivanov up front, and then Mallon and Sterling are coming on as well. But yeah, that's always been my reasoning for it. It is Joey Jones, Wrexham legend himself, absolutely. I think that's probably a better way of putting it, Wopos. I wouldn't necessarily class player search as cheating, but it does make life easier, definitely. I think there is a certain element to it where sort of transfer and loan listed players, there are lists available online that have the majority of those players in. And of course, like for example, there are downgrades to the player search. If you're playing at Ballymena United, like I am in a live stream search, the live stream save, sorry, you'll go into there and go on the player search, and you'll only see players from Northern Ireland. But there's no way the scout or the chairman or the manager at Ballymena United hasn't heard of players in the Premier League. They just don't know if they're attainable or not. So there are realistic elements to the player search screen as well. It's just for me, I find it more of a challenge without it. But I don't begrudge anyone who does it. I understand the reasons. Let's catch up with the chat. We're very active this morning. Thank you to everyone coming in. If you haven't yet, please do chuck a thumbs up on it. We're just a couple away from double figures. And we're probably just about half an hour away from bottling a cup final. Maybe not even that. As we've gifted Rangers the title today with that 1-0 win too. Mark, everything to make it realistic as possible. Absolutely. And it's just going through the proper channels, isn't it? You have to put an advert out, an interview for staffing, and for players, you want to work with your team within the club and players that you would have heard of. I've got no problem if people search for players they would have heard of and then go and ask the club if they're available. As we watch another club lift the title, we would have liked to have been a bit nearer, but it's not to be. Third place yet again, and we're nowhere near the old firm this year. For a Rangers side that finished third behind us last year, didn't get into the Champions League, then spent massive money, and here they are a year later. It's just impossible to compete. 100% younger generation just want short-term wins, and you can't blame them for that, because when did I first start playing FM? 05, I would have been 11, 12. That's all I wanted. I wanted to win. I wanted to take the first big job I got offered and get to the top. I wasn't doing bottom league to the top league until at least the third or fourth year. I probably didn't start managing in non-league until Luton went there in 09. So I kind of get it. But once you get to this stage, you want to have a bit of a challenge and you want something to be realistic and a bit strategic and all of that stuff, don't you? So that's probably the main reason for it. Charlie, favourite non-Luton FA Cup moment? I was going to say my favourite football moment is an FA Cup moment with Luton, which was the Norwich away game. You can't choose Watford Tranmere. That's not fair. That's the best FA Cup game as a neutral I've ever been to. Not to mention the fact that Tranmere's board actually supported our vlog and all of that stuff and really helped it along. But the game itself was incredible. I mean, even Bella Italia got on board when we had our lunch. So, I mean, that's sort of the stuff dream were made of for us. But I'm trying to think of other games neutrally. Definitely not Northampton Derby, which was the worst 0-0 I've ever been to. And it's the last FA Cup game I've been to still. Best FA Cup moment? That's a great question for anyone. I'm trying to think of the best moment that I've been to at a stadium, which is probably unrealistic. I think maybe Hitchin Solihull Moors, Charlie, from a couple of years before that. Because, and I'm not just saying that because of the incident with yourself, but the game itself was really good. It was a really even game. It's probably, as Hitchin, a club that I've gone to watch football games at quite a lot, being relatively local, it's the first time I've ever seen the town buzzing, the stadium full. It was a unique occasion. And for me, it personifies what the FA Cup is. So I'd go for that. Wappots, with the technology we have nowadays, everyone is able to look up any players. The stats will mostly be hidden anyways to begin with. And that's it. You can on Google find knowledge of thousands and thousands of players in every league. I think the difficulty is you wouldn't really be able to find out much about them. Their goal stats, their career stats, more so their playing stats, what type of player they are. Whereas that bit, once you say on FM that you can see the player, you can see that side as well. I agree with you on that side of things. So for the head coach, obviously I have to have it on so you can see the quality of the players we're bringing in. And I try and do it on the saves that I have. One, because it doesn't matter because I'm not using the player and staff searching. And once players are scouted, you've got the full knowledge of them anyway. But also because I want you guys to be able to see who we're getting in and who's potentially going, who we've missed out on. But that's the thing I think is the most important, is that you don't disable the player attribute masking. Because that's something, again, when I was 11 or 12 I used to do, because I wanted to know how everyone was rated. But once you get to sort of mid-teens and onwards, I wanted it to be an immersive experience and to have that mystery of not knowing everything. Gaming, let me catch up with the chat and we'll come back to the Who Am I in a moment. What was I'd be interested in doing a save without player search, etc. Normally I use it because I play casually. Exactly. But if you've got the player attribute masking on, then that can make part of a difference anyway. Mark, you're absolutely right. When we Charlie spoke to the Leyton Orient scout on a podcast and he was raving about it. Because he said you're watching games, you're updating player analysis as you go along. It was really interesting to see how much of scouting is now drifting into player analysis and data analysis side of things. And I guess that's been reflected in FM, hasn't it? But yeah, I've had a look at Y-Scout. It's really good. Not being able to use player search also makes you focus on getting the scouting assignments right a bit more. Absolutely. It makes you think about recruitment for your staffing when you're doing job adverts, when you're getting the backroom advice. You don't just go, oh, that one's all right, we'll get them. You look at what's their personality. Actually, not just what's their player judgment, what's their negotiating stat. Are they going to get deals over the line? You have a look at, oh, have they got knowledge in other countries rather than just great stats? And then when you've got the scouting assignments, you have to focus a bit more. Now, the player recruitment meetings this year do make a bit of a difference. But as we've seen in the head coach, particularly in the earlier days where you've got less good director of footballs, Pat Nevin aside, they'll often ignore that advice and just go and buy 5 goalkeepers on deadline day. So it makes it interesting for sure. Charlie Bella Italia, I forgot about that. How can you forget about that? Our match day vlog was supported by the Tranmere board, the football club's official social media, and by Bella Italia. For me, that was job done. We'd made it that day. Can't recommend it enough, even casual play. Oh, I'm glad people are enjoying it. I actually think the not using the staff search, I find, has the biggest impact, because when you're in, say, like I would say in the National League, even when you're starting in the lower leagues of England, you can easily, if you're using the staff search, find a director of football and scout with attributes of 10 or 11 in each. Whereas if you're doing it via interviews and recruiting and the backroom advice, you'll never get one anywhere near that standard. And it just sort of delays that growth, means you can get stuck in a league the odd time. There's nothing I find more frustrating, and I know it happened once on this channel with Torquay with a couple or 3 straight promotions, I think. But there's nothing I find more frustrating when I watch someone doing a bottom to top save and they've just won the league 5 years in a row with 20 points difference to the rest of the teams, because it makes it takes the edge off it, doesn't it, really? Attribute masking definitely on. Only had it turned off in my first ever save because I was getting the hang of the game. I think that's the thing, is I've actually ended up with it off more now than I used to, because particularly for the head coach, for example, like I didn't used to care before. I would review the players when they came in, but it adds to the drama of seeing, oh, on transfer deadline day, the director of football's trying to get this player in. And because our director of footballs generally miss out on so many players as well, you want to know what ones we could have been, what we could have had, what could have been. And that's why I have it on for that. Serious question, is Pat Nevin your best ever director of football? I mean, I think I'd get a fair amount of pelters if I said no. I think he's the only, let's put it this way, he's the only one that's ever featured on a thumbnail. He's the only one who's ever had a crown put round his head. And it's Pat Nevin. I mean, you can't go wrong. Pat Nevin is a legend. Let's go and have a look at him, actually. We said we would, didn't we? Pat Nevin. I can only apologise for the standards of my sentencing and putting words together this morning. Pat Nevin must have retired. He's not there. I mean, he was about 60 at the start of the game, in fairness, but see, without that job at Brecon City, he just doesn't stay involved. What a shame that is. And if you consider in the head coach, I won't spoil where he is, but he's still active in the game 10 years later in yesterday's episode. Here, 5 years later, he's gone. So you could argue that we did as much for Pat as he did for us. A match made in heaven, you may say. Please do chuck a thumbs up on it if you haven't already. It does make a massive difference. Thank you so much for everyone coming in today. A quick update for what we'll be doing after this stream series finishes today. We'll go to 3 days a week on Ballymena United over on Twitch. So Sunday morning, which we're already doing, and then the 2 we would do here. So Saturday morning and Tuesday afternoon as well. All 3 of those will be on Twitch up until the Euros. Due to the fact that 75% of you have voted for doing some of the Euros watch-alongs, we'll do that as well. And we'll just watch some of those niche games between 2 of the lesser fancied nations. I don't want to do any of the home nations that are emotionally charged or anything like that. I haven't forgotten El Gaming. I'll be back there in a second. But thank you for the support. Thank you all for voting on it and helping out as well. And thank you for the support on Twitch too. And I can see loads of you have already gone over and subscribed to the food channel as well, which I'm very excited about. So I'll now have a social media platform covering all of my favourite hobbies. So food, football manager and football. Okay, I made all my stats in a beta, so I don't know if it's on or off. Ah, I see. Wapples, if you're not the one making the transfers, then turning masking off is no problem. Exactly. And that's the thing. The only ones I have it on where I am in charge of transfers are these live stream ones. But as you've seen, it's proven no advantage whatsoever. As long as you don't abuse it, none of the things are an advantage. So, let's go back to the Who Am I then. Now we've got a little lull in a chat. So, I've played for Gornal, Tipton, Howes Owen, Hednesford, Telford, Wrexham, Forest Green, Blackpool, Rotherham, Wigan. That looks familiar to something I've heard recently, and I don't know why. Very interesting. Eswef, I'm not a fan of masking, but I've done saves where I don't use the search for reasons you've said. And it does, I mean, both of them don't need to go hand in hand, really, do it? One or the other has the effect that it needs to. Let's go and get towards this Hibs game, our final league game in charge of Dundee United. But we're all warming up for the cup final, really, aren't we? I was hoping for the same drama as last year. Will you go to Atlanta, etc.? Well, I don't know, to be honest. Well, we'll see what happens, but I've definitely... Oh, bear with me a moment. West Brom trying to sign Serrano. And this is another thing. The English club's just coming in off of massive money to poach the best players. So in terms of drama in here, the drama doesn't have to be part of it. It's great if drama comes along, but I'm not going to push it. The Who Am I is quite a difficult one, actually. I do struggle with the non-league ones a bit more. I'm trying to put a few of the clubs together, which is always the bit I find harder. So, yeah, that's where we are at the moment. I think the problem here is that we've got a very big game coming in a week's time, and I already got that sense of doom of knowing that we're going to lose it. You saw the last performance against Rangers at the start of this stream, and I'm not confident it's going to be any better at Hampden, to be brutally honest. Did anyone see the rambling drama that was the Scottish Cup final attendance yesterday? I mean, talk about, if anything could personify the SFA in a day, I think that was probably it, wasn't it? An announcement that only 600 could attend due to the Euro 2020 planning, when there was already a planned speech, political, governmental wise, about where lockdown was going to be and how the easing of restrictions was going to go in Hampden. And then 6 hours later, it went back to behind closed doors. It was just an absolute shambles of a day, to be honest. Save the Who Am I will be back in a minute. I know who it is as well, so I'll tell you when you're back. You let me know when you're there, because I know exactly who it is. And it's someone I've managed in FM21. Charlie, did you see the Warren Point own goal last night? Look, I've always said on here many a time, and part of the reason we've had saves 2 years in a row from there is that Irish League football is brilliant. It is the greatest, and I mean this politely, Charlie, it is the greatest contribution you've made to my life, which has introduced me to Irish League football, because it is absolutely brilliant to watch. That own goal was disastrous. I think you've seen, from the way some of the sides have been playing in the bottom half of that league, I think you've seen the impact of no relegation on a league. I mean, we've seen it in the National League in England as well, but it was pretty calamitous, yeah. I have no doubt Warren Point are going to be down there again next year. Let's get Francisco Ramos back into the lineup. Let's get through this one, because no one's worried about this game, are they? We're all focused on the final one. Why do they keep taking all of our best subs off the bench? I really don't understand. They're obsessed with having Darren Watson on there. They love a sub keeper. Lewis Nielsen. Always gets there, despite being the worst rated player at the club. I feel like someone's missing who would normally be in there. Because we don't normally get to have all three of those midfielders on the bench. It's Lawrence Shankland, isn't it? But do we need him? Because if we need a striker in this game that's a dead rubber, we're going to go for Ivanov, aren't we? It'd be nice if we could get his first goal for the club. But for now, it's basically a warm-up event. So we're not going to worry too much. Thank you to everyone coming in as well. It's lovely to have you all here this morning. If you haven't got involved in the chat yet, please do come and say hello down in the comments. Come and follow on Twitch, where we'll be live streaming regularly from tomorrow as well. And chuck a thumbs up on the video to thank you for your support. I'm much appreciative. Have you ever managed a reserve team on FM? You can't do it in FM. You can't manage the only things I think you can do, you can manage a B team, like the B teams in Spain, but you can't manage a club reserve team. It's one of the biggest features I'd love to see, to be able to manage club reserves and under 18s. But the only area you can manage youth international teams is international football, as I gave away halfway through the sentence. So you can manage youth international teams, which I have done before, but you can't manage club reserve teams, which I find a bit bizarre, because that's such a natural pathway now to be a under 18 manager, reserve manager, first team manager. I'd love to see that in FM in the next couple of years. It would change the face of a save like the head coach, because the focus on coaching and tactical awareness would probably start lower down at a club. And you even have that choice, don't you? Imagine in FM having the choice of, do I stay as a first team manager at, let's pick a National League South club, St Albans, Hemel Hempstead, one of our local ones. Do I stay there as a manager, or do I go and be an under 18s manager at a Championship or League One club? Which one gives me a better pathway? Where am I going to have the better chance of developing? How much do I trust that club? And that would make a real big change to the game, I feel. But I'm not sure it's something we'll see in the immediate future. L Gaming is Curtis Tilt, the centre half from my Wigan Beta series. Thoughts on the Yorkshire Glamorgan game? Well, it looked quite interesting, didn't it? Labershane's come over for the summer to get some fitness. Apologies to all the Scots, because I mentioned cricket briefly. Labershane looked out of sorts in English conditions. Joe Root looked pretty strong. Obviously, that was the thing that he was against his brother, wasn't it? Which was quite a big deal. But as soon as you get a bit of rain in England, cricket matches become an absolute bit of chaos, which is what we all love to see. As Mitchell steps up and scores a penalty, 15 gone. It would be nice to go into the cup final with a win. It is Curtis Tilt, absolutely brilliant. We'll finish the Who Am I's before we get to the cup final, because we're going to need to be turned on for that one. Oliver Johnson, morning. Another one of the regulars. Lovely to have you in. Thank you to all the regulars for turning up for the series finale. It is greatly appreciated. Before we carry on with Ballymena on Twitch tomorrow, it's not the end of our... Oh, we got another penalty. 2 in 3 minutes. Sorry, before we carry on with our live stream series over there. But with Dundee United, as we said, we got to a point where we're starting to go back down the hill. This does my head in. Every time there's 2 penalties in a game, they miss one of them. It's really infuriating. It's almost predictable what's going to happen. But there we are. It's still 1-0 to Dundee United. We're not going to panic too much. It would be a nice way to finish. It would be a nice way to go into it. But I still don't feel confident for the cup final. When we get halfway through the week, we'll start getting our predictions in for it as well. Okay, when I've started my cricket season, I played a bit in the first one, and then it was called off. Then the second one was. Yeah, I think, unfortunately, you never get 2 good summers in a row in England. Last summer was absolutely beautiful from March to June, through the first lockdown, ironically, which was great for the country at the time. But equally, as Mitchell scores again, this time not from the spot. I just read Carl's message, sorry, it distracted me. But equally, this summer it's probably going to be appalling as a result of last summer being glorious. Dylan, Carl, good morning. 2 more of the regulars in. Thank you for coming here. You did miss the Wigan Who Am I, Dylan, and I got it pretty quickly. I'm quite impressed with myself. As I said, we'll do Who Am I's up to the cup final, so we'll probably get 1 more in, but when we're on the cup final, we'll focus purely on that. Thank you to everyone coming in. Please chuck a thumbs up if you haven't already. We're almost at double figures for the day. Should be an absolute cracker. And it should be a very underwhelming finish as I get battered by Rangers at Hampden Park. Carl's message that distracted me in a way was, I'm in for the who am I, however, I've got a 5 and 7 year old annoying me at the moment. I'm putting the children's stage of life off as much as possible as Serrano scores, just to make sure I've fully grown up. Dylan, you've got a banger. Absolutely, go for it. El Gaming's had 2, so get yourself one in, and that should be the morning. Whoppers, in the director of football save, do you use the thing where you can suggest positions, etc. to them? Or do you let them do their thing? And which things do you keep control of? So in terms of the recruitment meetings that you have like at the start of the window and a week or two before the end, I'll suggest and add positions onto the agenda. But they've very rarely been followed, so I don't think there's much harm to it. As a head coach, you've got a right to say, I think we need a player in this position. You just can't force the director of football to listen. But I don't get involved in any of the scouting certain positions or anything outside of that recruitment meeting. Elgame, still a batsman. I always fancied myself as a batsman wicket keeper because I couldn't bowl quick. I didn't want to run in quick. I would only ever be a slow left arm Chinaman. So it made sense. And I was always a goalkeeper in football. So goalkeeper or centre half in football, you can read the game, and generally that goes well with being a wicket keeper. Dylan made it on Thursday. Excellent. I played football on Thursday night for the 3rd time since returning from lockdown, and it's the first time I felt even slightly human again. Because I am in a very poor shape at the moment. Wapos, Scott Mitchell is actually a fellow sim racer who I'm competing against. I bet he's still probably better at taking penalties than this Scott Mitchell here, though. Because every time you get to a second one of the game, it's definitely going to be missed. As Law goes wide to Brookin, to McCrory, to Brookin again. To the right byline. Can we get the ball in the box? We can. Mitchell's there. Oh, I thought he'd wrap the hat-trick up. Unfortunately, it's disallowed for offside. And if he'd got the hat-trick, I could have taken him off for Ivanov. Now, though, we're going to have to do something different. So, centre midfield, we'll go for... Let's bring Ali McCann on, because he barely ever gets an appearance this year. In attacking midfield, I'm going to bring on Ivanov in the middle. He's going to go up front with Mitchell in behind. Or in fact, I'll leave Ivanov in behind. Doesn't make much difference, does it? And then Serrano often struggles for fitness, so we'll swap him with Sterling. And we'll just see out this game. We shouldn't throw it away from this point. Jack, only player to score a hat-trick in every league in England. Robert Earnshaw. Absolutely one of my favourite ones, that. It's a brilliant stat. Oh, Jack, sorry, I've ruined it. It's one of my favourite stats. You and I think the same way. Can't catch me out with those ones. Those sorts of pointless trivia, I absolutely love. Charlie, slow left arm Chinaman. They were impossible to play against on Brian Lara cricket. I was doing that in the Cricket 19 save, even the most recent ones, up to a year or two ago, and they're the same there. The slow bowling is so hard to face. The timing has to be exquisite, doesn't it? Particularly if you're advancing down the pitch, if you're trying to get it before it bounces, before it takes that little divot off the surface. Particularly on a 3rd or 4th day pitch, it gets a little bit tricky. Load FM could do a better job in Golden Hen, though. Absolutely not. In my prime, I was... Oh, it was for me, Jack. Sorry. I just felt guilty because I answered it straight away. It's one of my favourite trivias, that one. All of those little pointless ones I always get. I don't think Charlie does play cricket because he's, like me, he's getting on and had various surgeries. But he's a cricket fan, I'm aware. Man United fans happy with the Liverpool game. It was an interesting game, actually. To be fair, you get this towards the end of the season because there's not really a huge amount to play for 2 of the top 4 and for a lot of the teams at the bottom. You get these big, weird scoring games. Look at City Newcastle last night. You look at United Liverpool. I know Liverpool are scrapping for their lives, but United have got more important things to look forward to from their point of view. So I understand why they would prioritise and look. And let's be fair, we saw it with Rotherham in the Championship. When the fixture schedule gets like that, you're never going to be able to compete. Probably is. Whoppers, yeah. Let's go and get ahead. Thank you to everyone that's coming in. When we get to midweek, we'll start doing score predictions for the cup final, and I'll bring out my and you might look at this and go, why am I wasting my £1 a day of ad revenue on it? But I genuinely own the tie that I'm going to be putting on for it. Prediction for the FA Cup final. Oh, it's my favourite day of the year, Oliver. I absolutely love it. Growing up, it was one of the few. The FA Cup final and the Champions League and Europa League were the ones that were on free TV in the UK. You couldn't watch the League Cup final most of the time. You couldn't watch any of the lower league ones. So it was always those three. I love the FA Cup. I guess I'm a bit old-fashioned in that way. But I think, and I know this is going to be very unexpected, I think Leicester are going to nick it. I think they'll be ruthless on the counter, and I think they're going to win by 3-1. And to be honest, I think because of the Super League stuff that happened in the last month, 90% of the country are going to be cheering Leicester on now. And imagine that if in the last 5 years they've won the FA Cup and the Premier League, reached a Champions League quarter-final. I mean, it'd be a pretty remarkable story, really, wouldn't it? They're becoming one of the super clubs now. Thank you for the kind words, Oliver. As I said a bit earlier on in the stream, I've never hidden the fact I love to make this part of my job. I want to put an extra effort into the Euros, to having a chat with you and watching some games along with you. But I'd love if by next year we could do both long-term stories daily, if we could stream 3 or 4 times a week, and also with the food channel coming as well. I'd love to do it as part of my job, basically. And I'll keep working hard to make it happen. I know it's very difficult at the moment whilst working near enough full-time as well, but so like tomorrow, I'll be live streaming 10:30 till 12 on Twitch, and I'll be working at 1 o'clock. But we'll get there. It'll be worth it in the end. But thank you for the support, and thank you everyone for watching. It does make a big difference to me. Charlie, I played one game for a village team nearby about 10 years and snapped my little finger, filled in a ball at deep mid-wicket. Was in the 3rd or 4th over and my cricket career ended. What a tale of woe that is. I played one school game, Charlie, in high school. I got 27. I came in as sort of a number 5 or 6, like towards the end of I think it was a 30. I think they did 30 overs a side. And I came into with like about 8 overs to go, and I got about 27 off. I think it was 26 balls, 26 or 28. It was one either side of one a ball. But I was a left-hander, and I had the license to wildly swing because no one below me could bat to save their lives. But obviously, where we were from, Luton, our school had a really high Asian population, so we had some phenomenal bowlers. Like we had a lad at 13, 14 who was bowling 75, 80 mile an hour. It was unbelievable to watch. Very hard to wicket keep. Dylan, who am I? Oh, here we go. I'll come to the who am I in a minute. Let me catch up with the others very quickly. Wapos, what is the favourite league you've managed outside of the UK and Ireland? From a selfish point of view, I love the Bundesliga. I love it. But the favourite one I've managed in here, if I take away the obvious ones and the big ones, I would say either Norway with Rosenborg, I had a brilliant stint with. I really loved about 5 or 6 FM's back, sorry. If not, going wildcard, I would say the Indian League. Because everyone got excited because they thought about the Indian Super League. But in FM, it's the traditional league. But it's got quite lenient rules on foreign players and things like that. So you get a mix of half brilliant players with no physicality and half physical players with no quality. It's a wonderful balance. So I'd probably say the Indian League. And it's something I'd like to revisit in the future. I remember, was it Loki a few years ago? I don't know if you guys watch other FM YouTubers. I'm sure one of his Journeyman series started in India. And that was really good as well. Because it just brought back happy memories for me. El Gaming's predicting Leicester. Dylan's going for Chelsea. Dylan, I'll come to you. Who am I in a second as well. Great to see Tannadice Sidibe in there, by the way. SOF, I'm old school. Champions League Tuesday and Wednesday night EV. So when I got to growing up, the Champions League, I think it had got down to 1 game a week. I think it was just the Tuesday night. Then UEFA Cup Thursday was Channel 5 and ITV4. And you got 2 games. So I think Channel 5 used to have a 6 o'clock one. Or no, ITV4 had a 6 o'clock and Channel 5 had an 8 o'clock. UEFA Cup Chapter. Yeah, I can't remember those ones, SOF, but that's, yeah, similar to me growing up. And there was a brief stint where they used to have championship games on BBC, didn't they? But they got rid of them after a season or two. El Game, in the team you played are two fast bowlers. SOF, I used to love the Dutch League. Had good saves with VVV and AZ. Yeah, the Dutch League's always quite good. The Indian League's brilliant though. I quite like the sort of those middle road leagues. The Dutch League. I had a year in Portugal at the end of the FM20 head coach, which I really enjoyed. And I'm trying to think of other leagues around there as well. There must be a few more. I quite like the San Marino leagues, to be honest, but that's that's a downloadable league, isn't it? The only ones that I really struggle with is the MLS, and loads of you have asked me to do it just so we can do a short-term series with a draft and that. So it's something I'm looking at after the Euros, but and maybe we'll end up there later in the head coach. Who knows? Right, what day are we at now? Jack's going for Chelsea 2-1. You're a Chelsea fan, aren't you? Jack, if I remember rightly, so I've probably upset you. Brookings got an injury there. How many days was it? Oh, he might miss the cup final. Right, apparently we're one day away from the final. So, get your predictions down in the comments. Rangers v Dundee United. Don't forget we've lost to them already in today's stream. We've bottled cup finals against Hamilton and the likes. What do you think the score's going to be? The second biggest cup final of the day. I was quite looking forward to Rafe v Dundee this evening as well, but Dundee spoilt it by winning it handsomely in the first leg. Charlie, it wasn't a boil game and I got my finger caught in the crowd. To be fair, Charlie, that's how I did ruptured ankle ligaments and a double leg break, wasn't it? By catching my foot on the floor, so I can't comment on that. Yeah, Portugal as well. Those mid-range leagues are really good because there's room for progression, which is something you always enjoy, isn't it? El Gaming, they're always the worst injuries. The ones where there's no people about, you're not near the ball, you get caught in a divot in the ground or you land awkwardly, and they're always the worst injury. El Gaming, 2-1 Rangers. I wouldn't apologise. I think 2-1, as much as I'd like to win it, a 2-1 defeat, I'd probably take that now, to be honest. Because I don't see it being any better. So Brookin is injured. He's fully fit though, so I might start him. I'm going to start him. He's one of the best players. We've got to add two goalkeepers. Xander Clark will come in for Filip Ivanov. Sterling is available as a backup right back if we need it. But I need to get Lawrence Shankland on the bench, so we've got a striker of some form. He'll replace Ali McCann. I think other than that, we stick with the strongest team, and hopefully we get a positive result. Thank you to everyone coming in with a chat as well. It's lovely to have so many of you here. We will be live on Twitch again in the morning, so don't worry. This isn't the end of streaming on FM. It's just the end of streaming on this series. I've just knocked my camera a little bit as well, so let's get that back up to normal. Maka, good morning. Another one of the regulars in. Let's catch up with the score predictions. Wapos 5-0 easy win. I'm presuming that's for Rangers. If it's not, then you're a very bold man. Dylan Dundee United on penalties. SOF 1-1 and pens for Dundee United. On the pitch, absolutely. Yeah, I kind of said the same, Jack. Most of the country will be supporting Leicester now, won't they, unfortunately? Charlie, 2-0 Dundee United. You'll go 1-0 up. And Rangers will push men forward for a corner. Oh, not that again. Oh, Charlie's prediction from every championship show of the season's coming out there. Tom, great question. What percentage of your adult life do you think you spent on FM? And if FM never existed and you had all those hours back, what would you be doing? Great question. So, FM, normally I average about, I'm trying to work it out because normally my gameplay time is 12 to 1300 hours a year on Steam, but I leave it when I'm going to play dinner, when I'm doing whatever. So I'd say it's probably between 900 hours a day. I'd say roughly, of active time, 900 hours. A lot of that's while watching football and things like that. So probably, to be honest, Tom, I'd just watch the football and not have FM on, to be honest. It's made me more productive than anything. I don't know. Well, how does 900 work out? What's that? 24... 240 times 4. So it's about 40 days worth, isn't it? So it's about 10% then would be time on that's on FM. But most of the time playing that is probably whilst watching the football, whilst doing the exercise bike, whilst doing whatever. So it probably wouldn't change a lot. I'd just be less productive and probably be more like those who just sit on their phones all day while doing it, while watching the football. I'd probably be an angry Twitter troll. So I'd probably be more emotionally over the top. So yeah, that's in simple terms. I think outside of FM, there's probably, and football games and football in general, there's nothing outside of sport that hugely motivates me. So I think that probably I would just be a little bit larger than I am girth-wise, because I'd be snacking more during the football rather than playing FM. So that's probably the honest answer. We could all say, oh yeah, I would have learnt the guitar, I would have learnt 2 other languages or whatever. But the truth is, I'm probably not disciplined enough to have done that. So there's my honest approach. Oliver, what's your plan after the Dundee United save? So, until the Euros, we'll do 3 streams a week on Twitch with Ballymena. So the Sunday one that we do already, but then we'll do the Tuesday evening and the Saturday morning there as well. For the Euros, there's a vote on the community page. Most of you have said you'd like to see some Euros watch-alongs where we just chat while some of the niche games are being played. So we'll do that during the Euros. And then after the Euros, we'll do a new mini live stream series as well. But that might be here or on Twitch. I'm not quite sure yet. Generally, the viewership's higher on Twitch. It's closer to live for me interacting with you guys. And generally people have seemed to enjoy that, but we'll see. It doesn't matter too much to me. The Wappos 5-0 was for you. Well, that is beyond ambitious. Who would you take to the Ashes as an England selector? That's an interesting question. I'll probably come back to that one halfway through the county championship season, once we see. Macca, across the main game and PC version of Touch, I've done over 3,000 hours on FM20. Oh! But that's the thing, I guess this year was different because a lot of people were on furlough and things like that for part of the game, which for me, I was still working the same number of hours, probably more once the vaccination centres opened. So I was probably actually playing it a bit less. And don't forget, for me, I'm also playing it in the background while I'm editing, and I'm not always active if I'm focusing on certain parts of the episode and that. How many of those hours would you say are active? Would you say you're playing that actively all the time or not so much? Tom, you're meant to say learn Latin or specialise in Ethiopian cooking or something. Well, that's the thing though, Tom, isn't it? Everyone says that. Oh, if this hadn't happened to me, I would have learnt this or I would have done this. And the truth is, for 90% of people, no, you wouldn't. You would have sat, you would have been lazy. And that's the honest truth, I had 2 weeks off work in April and I went, oh, I'm going to go and get fit and whatever else. And I didn't because I didn't have the motivation at the time. Whereas now, I'm working, I'm doing this, but I'm still motivated to get fit, so I'm actually doing it. And that's the truth, We have to be honest with ourselves, don't we? Too many people, and this is a genuine side of that, struggle with their mental health because they're not honest with themselves. They say, oh, I haven't been able to do this because of this. And it's accepting who you are. It makes a massive difference, I'm happy with myself. I was a lazy slob who now works incredibly hard because I have a full-time job and I'm also playing Football Manager and making basically the full-time equivalent of content near enough. So it's worked out, I would say, in that sense. It's given me a discipline I never had. And it's allowed me to progress my love for football yet further. Jack, Football Manager engages me. I can't just chill and vegetate. I like to concentrate. I'd probably say, from a academic point of view, I was quite intelligent academically, but never that fussed about it. I think the side of academic stuff I like, the analysis, the spreadsheet side, the mathematics side basically, was always my side. So Football Manager plays to that. Macca, I'm 50 years old and I put up a Euro 2020 wall chart last night that came free with the World Soccer magazine. You have my utmost respect, Macca. If I hope, and please, if I'm still on here and you're all still watching me and whatever else, if I am embarrassed about doing Panini sticker books, about having a wall chart for the Euros or whatever when I get to 50, then please do tell me that I've lost touch with myself, because you've got to stay true to yourself. And that's what I said, genuinely, you've got to be honest with yourself, because it makes a massive difference. FM can get boring at times for me, but it's always somehow entertaining watching. Well, I sort of found that, and that's the other side of discipline as well. I used to be one of those who got a bit bored after 3, 4, 5 years of a save. Doing the the long-term stories on here has given me such a discipline to the save that I would never have before. I used to get the odd summer, and I don't know about you guys, it's always summer transfer windows for me. If I have one that didn't quite go to plan in a one-club save, I'd sort of give up on it for a few weeks. Whereas here, I can't do that, and it makes me play through it. And then you find a new hero, or you find that, oh, my team have gelled better, even though I haven't signed anyone, because it's the same players. And it's given me a discipline for that I never had before as well. So it's probably been one of the best things I've done all round. And obviously, we've built a lovely little community now where we just chat football for 2 hours most weeks. Love a good wall chart, absolutely. You can't go wrong. No matter how far down the line we get with technology, a mobile wall chart will never match sticking one on the wall. And I'll make sure I've got one behind me for the Euros. I've got to find a way of turning my screen round, or I'll have to sit in bed for them. We'll find a way around it. Right, before we go and get into the cup final, let me go and get back to Dylan's Who Am I? And I'm apologising it took so long, but as we've mentioned, the chat is very active today. So, who am I? I've played with Glenn Morris, Jimmy Bullard, Wayne Bridge, Mamadi Sidibe, Jake Livermore, and Liam Hatch. Liam Hatch, I'm guessing, popped up because of our last live stream where we were talking about Liam Hatch's Luton time. So, Bullard and Liver... Oh, that's... I can't even put clubs together for any of them. Has anyone got any idea? Who am I? And I've played for all of those clubs. Are you alright for me to post it again, Dylan? Just so it's down at the bottom. Just so it's up to date. So there is the latest Who Am I from Dylan. I've put it back just so for all of the chat we've had since, you don't have to keep scrolling. Thank you for all the extra thumbs up and support, by the way. But that's Dylan's Who Am I? Has anyone got a clue? And we'll go and get into the cup final in a minute. I think it's only Wapos who's predicted me to win, isn't it? Oh no, Charlie has as well. Oh no, and SOF went on penalties. So most of you have predicted me rather than Rangers. What's going on there? Iceland bring back any memories for the England fans. It was a... Do you know what? In that Euros, there was almost sort of a sense of it happening. My only memory of that Euros is during the Euros, we had our first pre-season training for Sunday League football, and that's when I did my injury, the double leg break and the ruptured ankle ligaments. And I ended up overnight in hospital for 2 nights, waiting to find out whether I'd get the operation or not at the time. And I was having to fast for like 16 hours until at 6 in the evening they'd confirm you couldn't do it. And then you'd have to fast from 8 o'clock at night again. So I paid £7.50, which is what you have to pay to watch the free channels on TV in our local hospital. And I watched, I think it was, what game was it in England's group that was 0-0? It was Wales v maybe Russia or Slovakia or whatever it was. I'm going to have to go and have a look. So, Euro 2016, Group B. Which game was it that was 0-0? It was... Let's go down. It was Slovakia v England. That's what it was. So that was the game I watched. And it was 0-0. It was one of the worst games of football I have ever seen. And it was not the most pleasant hospital ward either. But there you go. It's one of those things. West Brom or Hull. The thing is, they don't overlap timing-wise. Sidibe's main spell was Stoke. That was 0-0. 0-0 between England and Slovakia. There was a Wales one I watched it there as well. I'm sure of it. But I guess it was 2 nights, so it could well have been either. I just remember watching a 0-0 and going, oh, what a £7.50 that was. And the quality of picture was awful as well. I'm trying to work out those names. Dylan, I'm going to need a clue if you're still here. And if not, we'll roll it over to tomorrow, because I don't even know where to start with that. Oh, that Euros tournament was really good. And to be fair, because afterwards, after the op, I was at home off work for 2 weeks before I could go back. So I got to watch most of it from the best seat there. Right, we are into the Scottish Cup final. The final game of the series. I've made the mistake, haven't I? We're about to kick off and come out the tunnel. I'll get a tie out for you, just for this occasion. And this is the best tie that I own. And it's only because the Dundee United players normally duck the big occasion. So this is the one we've gone for. It is a tie that is absolutely full of ducks. I'm not dressing up. I'm not doing all the fancy stuff. But we will put the duck tie on. I don't even know if I can remember how to put a tie on nowadays. The old school way. And we'll have this one on just for Dundee United. I've done it so I've got the back bit's huge and the bottom bit's hardly got any on it. But there we go. That's the closest you're getting to me dressing up in a suit and tie for the big occasion in an FM Cup final. There we go. Dylan, is it Chris Morrison? That's an incredible shout. Dylan, I began my career at Leyton Orient. I'm looking up Chris Morrison to see who he was at. I'm trying to get the Glenn Morris. I couldn't even work out the Leyton Orient bit. So that's a very good shout. Oh, Clinton Morrison, sorry. Began the career at Leyton Orient. So now if we're putting the clubs together, that will be Leyton Orient, Wigan or Tottenham, or Hull. Wayne Bridges, Chelsea. He played for a few clubs though, didn't he? Southampton, Chelsea, Fulham. Mamadi Sidibe's got to be a Stoke link. And Liam Hatch, I don't even know where to go. Let's go and get into it. A chance to get our hands on the trophy on the final game of the series. And it will all be worthwhile if we win this. We're going to drop to a balanced mentality and just try and see the first half an hour out. And then we'll go attacking later on if we need to. Can we do it? We're on the front foot with Ramos, loses out, gives it away from the throw, but Mokri wins it back. Give us an early lead, give us a special day. Serrano gets it right to Brookin. Chance to cross, there's four in the middle. Oh, he's gone backwards to Lord, to Brookin again, to McCrory. And he's given it away. We had three chances to get it in the box there. As Mengi picks the ball up on the right to Serrano. Cuts inside to Lord, to Brookin. Through ball towards Mitchell. Oh, he scored! We lead against Rangers in just the 5th minute. This could become the best occasion we have ever had. What a moment this could be. I know we had a very dramatic end to the live stream series with Wigan in the beta. Possibly the most dramatic you think you'd have. But this would be the most glorifying to win like this. Oh, Macaulay Bonner, you think in L Gaming? It'll be older than that to have played with most of the boys in the 2000s. I'm trying to think who was at Leyton Orient at the time. Because Nicky Shorey started there about the same era. As the ball goes into O'Reilly, we've scored again. We're turning up for the big occasion. We're finally not ducking one. What a brilliant turnout. Unbelievable stuff. I think we might win it, you know. It's playing tricks with my mind. It wants me. It wants me to make it happen. It's telling me, yes, you can catch them. Your 2-1 might happen, but I think it's too early to be 2-0 already. And Rangers will come flying out after half-time. Dylan, we're going to need a clue too, I'm afraid. Because I'm really struggling with that. As the ball on the right, here we go. Rangers are going to get one. Oh, what a save by Ziga. What a save by Ziga. Unbelievable work. But we're clinging on at the moment at 2. Jack, that's the problem, isn't it, with these? You have a disappointing year. You get to the point where you think it's going to happen. What was 5-0 might happen, yeah. I think they might score before the break at this rate, though. But that's the thing, Jack, isn't it? You get to that state where they go, oh, they want you to have one more year. They're tempting you in. But I can guarantee you we'd then finish 3rd and be poor again. Charlie, your late corner prediction never has any legs at the start, to be fair. Tom, do Europa League 3rd place teams fall into the new Europa Conference? Correct. Yeah. 3rd place in Champions League into the Europa League. 3rd place in Europa League into the Europa Conference. That's exactly how it works. Your prediction's now 3-1. You can't have that. I'm having 2-1 or nothing. Oh, Dylan, that clue is a cracker. Oliver confirming, yeah. See, this is the thing, Tom. You support the big football clubs that are going to be playing in Europe, but we've played FM for years with the Minnow Nations, where the Europa Conference has been all the rage. We've known about it for years. We've known how it's going to work for 5 years. Yeah, that's the thing, Jack, though, that you can't be tempted into one more year due to one result. But if we can win the Scottish Cup in our final day, we can say in 5 years we've won 2 trophies, the League Cup, the Scottish Cup. We beat Celtic in one, Rangers in the other. It's a shame we lost to Hamilton in the League Cup final before. We've taken Dundee United into the Europa Conference, the Europa League and the Champions League. and we deserve the credit for all of it. You meant 2-2. Thank you everyone for the thumbs up and the support. It's been brilliant this morning to have such an active chat. I know a series finale is always going to get bigger views, but it's been brilliant to have you all along. And hopefully we can have the same fun throughout the Euros with Ballymena over on Twitch as well. It should be brilliant. Tom, you have to want it because from a club point of view, it's financially viable, isn't it? It's almost the same money. Penalty kick, brooking the injured player, sticks out a leg. But yeah. But I would say, as Rangers score, it's 2-1. It might be the right score yet. Is the home or Yannick Bolasie? How would he have played with Wayne Bridge? And how would he have played with Jimmy... Oh, Jimmy Bullard he would, wouldn't he? That's a very good shout, Charlie. It's only Wayne Bridge that I'm not sure on there. Arsenal in... none of that old gaming. Arsenal would... they'd get the money out of it. It's the 3 million for the group stage. It's still the £500,000 a win. You've got to go for it. Oh, wow. Not Bolasie. I'm the current manager of Spalding United. Oh, brains. I've got to get that. I saw it. It was quite recent, wasn't it? Oh, I've seen this recently. Oh, Zaquani. The old Peterborough one, isn't it? Gabriel Zaquani or something like that. I remember seeing it a few months ago. We've got 2 minutes to hang on. There's a second yellow card for Rangers. I mean, I've not made subs because I want the best team to be able to play the 90. But we've got tired legs now. And against 10, we've got to make the safe changes. So, Sterling on for Brooking at right back. Mockcrete replaced by Johnston on the left. And Lord replaced by Mallon. What we're going to do then is put McCrory into the holding role. We're going to play a 4-1-4-1, keep the rest of the game the same. I don't want to do too much else to try and mitigate circumstances. We'll go box to box there. We'll get our defenders onto wing backs on defend. And let's go and get the time wasting on, eh? Everybody loves that. Time waste all the time. Be more disciplined. Let's slow the pace down. Let's hold the shape. Let's drop the defensive line. And the rest of it will keep the same. I don't want to get caught too deep. What I'd really like is Stevie Mallon off the bench to chuck this free kick on with his first kick of the game. Here he goes. Stevie Mallon. Has he got a chance? Right-footed. Steps up. We're taking an age. Stevie Mallon! Oh, I thought it was him for a minute. Tom, staunchly defending Arsenal. Come on, we're not having any Premier League complaints on here. Waffles, I wouldn't know who it is. I only watch Premier League from England. Oh, no. Look who it is as well. Look who it is. He spent a year on loan here, Finley Robertson. Oh, last minute as well. I tell you what, we still duck a big game every now and then, don't we? I've knocked the camera there. It wasn't frustration, I promise you. Oh, Smith Rowe's been brilliant this season. Saka's very good as well. They've got some brilliant youngsters there. It's just a mentality thing. Only won the wall. What's that, sorry? Oh, Zaquani was right. Fantastic. I'm struggling to keep up with the chat today. There's so many of you here. Thank you for the support. It's absolutely incredible. El Gaming, you can't have it on your second one. First answer only. I've got to say, the league, and that's the thing, to be fair to Tom, he's never said they deserve it. It would be great if for the clubs if they get into Europe. But from a neutral point of view, I'd love to see Leicester in the Champions League, West Ham in the Europa League, Everton in Europa Conference. Well, I'd love to see that. And growing up watching Channel 5 and that, going back to what we were talking about earlier, we were always watching Everton on there. It was brilliant under Moyes. And Moyes being on there for West Ham and Everton being in there too, it would be brilliant. Who am I? I've played for Chesterfield, Aldershot, Burton, Wrexham, Maidenhead, Guiseley. Ooh. Dylan, yeah, get the tears out. Just can't win it. There's no way, now this going to 2-2 for extra time, that we're going to get on top again, is there? They had 10 men as well. Don't let it slip away. Do we get any extra subs? Because there are some very tired legs out there. We can do O'Reilly for Holsgrove. We can. I presume we only get 4. Yeah. So let's go back to what we were playing before then. Johnston. I should have just stayed 4-2-3-1 and pushed it onto him. But hindsight's a wonderful thing, isn't it? Let's get back to exactly what we were doing. The benefit is we've got fresh legs. We've got 11 men v10. If we can perform our best, we should be able to do it. I've actually forgotten what we normally play as the number 10. Is it an attacking midfielder on support or attack? Attacking midfielder on attack. So, deep line playmaker on defend. Attacking midfielder on attack. We're not going to time waste. We're not going to be disciplined. We are going to counter, distribute quickly. We're going to push the line up and we're going to prevent the distribution. So that's where we are. Back to our normal tactic. 30 minutes of 11 v 10 against a better side. Can we still finish it in superstar style? We've certainly deserved to win the game over the balance of it, but you don't get things for what you deserve. You get it for playing your best. Thank you to everyone for the support. I really hope we can nick it. I really hope we can find a way. We won't be going to Wrexham Gaming. I've taken my headphones out. Forgot to put them back in since the tie went on. A boring 15 minutes. That's what Rangers would have wanted. Their best chance is probably penalties with 11 v 10. You can see from the stats now we're dominating it. We've gone positive. We're going to try and win this inside the distance. You've seen our penalty taking this year. Though it's Rangers with a throw on the left from Diexon to Colley. Not sure why it's going slow now. Does that mean something bad's going to happen? Aribo back to Diaz. Into the centre forward, young Coombs. Overlap to Finley Robertson. Not again. Oh my word. The player we had on loan last year that Rangers wouldn't let us have again this season has scored 2 goals to turn this game around. It's sickening. In the last minute of extra time, we have one more chance to get this ball forward. Gaming, it was over before you said it. The penalty chance. Can we do it back to them? 15 seconds, get it forwards. Use a bit of game management. I know what the tactic is, but come on. Stevie Mallan chips it in. Johnston's there. Oh, he's missed it. Oh, he's missed a wonderful chance. Jacko, no. We've lost from 2-0 up. From 2-1 up in the 90th minute. From 2-2 in extra time with 11 v 10. And that perfectly explains this series. That perfectly explains it, doesn't it? We were 2-1 up with 2 minutes to go with 11 men versus 10. And we've thrown it away. We have found defeat from the jaws of victory. And that is the story of this Dundee United save. What a game and what a disappointment to finish it on. Dylan, son's crying. A 5-year-old could have scored that game in. It's one of those, isn't it? In a way, I know it's disappointing on a personal level. Oh, Mike Fondop, good guess by the way. I know it's a disappointing finish, but it is the perfect fitting finish to this series. That we have clutched defeat from the jaws of victory in a game where we utterly dominated. It's the perfect way to describe the save. SOF's gutted as well. What can we do? It was almost written in the stars that we'd bottle it. The boys ducked the big occasion yet again, and my tie has proved to be apt. We should have the season review tomorrow, so we'll get through that very quickly. We're into the Europa League, obviously. But none of that matters, because it will be the next manager who takes charge of that. So what we'll do is we'll see the end of season review, and then we'll polish off the stream at that point. Chin up, Tom, I know. I didn't expect to win it, but at 2-0 and at 2-1 with an extra man with 2 minutes to go, I kind of did then. Oh, wow, hang on a minute. I'm just looking at something from the Irish Prem. Glenavon beat Linfield in the Irish Premiership European Places semi-final. So why are Linfield not in the top 2? And what's going on with Glenavon as well? Larne, Crusader. Oh, it's tight there. Larne are running away with it with their professional money. But then Crusaders, Linfield, Glentoran, all very tight. Let's have a look at the previous years. So if we get the league table up, Larne won it this year. Linfield ahead of Larne the year before. Oh, so it's all Linfield. Oh, Glentoran the second season. What a bizarre title race they've got there. Let's go and get to the end of season review and reflect on our final year in charge. And the disastrous finish, shall we? Here it is. The end of season review, Dundee United. The new arrivals are, and they've largely been very good in fairness. The new arrivals, Kieran Lord, a wonder kid. Francisco Ramos, a wonder kid. Yasimovic, a permanent signing, a wonder kid. Serrano was great, Sterling was great, Mitchell was decent despite his penalty misses, and then a couple of squad players as well. But generally, very good additions this year. The problem is we can't keep hold of most of them, and you just end up going sideways rather than forward. Tom, how many fans at the FA Cup final today? Good question. Let's have a look. Let's see, fans. It was quite high, I think. A limited number of fans will be allowed in a final, but how many? Everything just says limited on here. So Chelsea and Leicester have each been given 6,250, and overall there'll be a crowd of 21,000. So I'm guessing all of those corporate ones in the middle, those people who have been paying for Club Wembley for a year and not got to go to a game, it'll probably be those as well. But over 6,000 for each set of fans is great, and 21,000 overall. At least it'll be an atmosphere. L Gaming, great stream. I'm going to go now. See you tomorrow. Thank you for popping in, and to all the regulars as well. It's been lovely to have you all here. We'll just get through the rest of this end of season review, and then I'll leave you to go about your day. But thank you again for the incredible support today and with this series in general. We will be live on Twitch with Ballymena 3 times a week. Sunday morning, Tuesday evening, and Saturday morning as well. And then from the Euros, we'll have loads of watch-alongs. So please, if you haven't already, just go and follow on Twitch. Get your notifications ready, because we will be going big time in the Euros. Loads of games. I've picked out about 7 from the group stages. Just minnow, or 2 of the smaller nations playing each other. Smaller in brackets. Less fancied nations against each other. We'll just have a bit of a laugh. CSKA and Moscow versus Dundee United was the match to remember. Winning a Champions League match, of course. That was the playoff, wasn't it? 5-0 win against Celtic was the biggest win. The most bizarre game of the year. And goal of the season was Ramos scoring the winner at Hamilton. It was a great finish. Again, reputation stands still. Revenue goes up a little bit in the other ones. Why is the broadcast revenue down when we were in a Champions League? Did we not get much out of it? The prize money's doubled, but everything else has stayed the same. I guess because our coefficient is so poor, we didn't get much out of it. Unless it hasn't been put together yet, if the final hasn't been played. How we lined up, our best 11. There is no way Mikey Johnston is in there ahead of Mockery. What on earth is going on? Mallon's in there ahead of McCrory. And the rest of it is as expected. Disappointing is the word I would use. And those of you asked as well, once this video is processed later, I'll put the link to the save file in the comments and in the comment section. So for the next 2 weeks, it'll be available to download if anyone wants to crack on. We got Scottish Players Manager of the Year. That's odd considering we finished 3rd and did worse than last year where we didn't win it. But there you go. Clean sheet, Ziga 27. Absolutely brilliant. He deserves so much credit. He's the first good keeper we've had. But he couldn't stop Rangers winning it. And as a result, we finish in 3rd. We finish needing a squad regeneration. And it's over to you guys now. If any of you want to take it over, it'll be available for you to do so. But thank you so much for coming along. SOF, is this your last YouTube stream? Definitely not in total. Because even if we didn't do any series on here in the future, head coach transfer windows and that in the future, definitely we'll have some stuff on here still. But it might be the last regular series, because even on the YouTube poll where I've put, do you want to see the Euro streams on Twitch or YouTube? About 40% of the votes Twitch before I've even gone and asked the Twitch audience. So even from the YouTube audience, it's not far off half saying they'd prefer to see it on Twitch. And I think the biggest thing from a personal point of view, as much as it being more interactive and seemingly being easier for people to watch, is that it's so much closer to live, which makes interaction with you guys so much easier. That's the thing that I find the biggest weighing factor. But there'll definitely be YouTube streams in the future, even if it's just odd transfer windows from my head coach Dave and things like that. So definitely not the end, but maybe the end of regular series from streaming. Are you going to record yourself while watching the game a la Arsenal Fan TV? So for the Euros, for some of the niche games, I won't do it for ones I'm emotionally attached to. But yeah, I'm going to record myself watching the game. Not so much to watch the game, but I don't want to miss the game. And I still want to stream and provide some form of entertainment to the audience. And to the people who have been so supportive this year. So I'll record myself, we'll watch the game together. We'll play some Who Am I's. I've got some football quizzes lined up and we'll just have a bit of fun. So hopefully it'll just be a relaxing, laid-back chat. Obviously, the food channel will have started by then, so we can talk a little bit about the food subjects as well. But it should be good entertainment. But thank you so much to everyone who supported this series and who's been so active today. I really have appreciated it as always, and I can't thank you enough for the support. Regular videos will continue at 3:30 today and every other day as well. And I'll see you tomorrow morning live on Twitch at the same time, 10:30. We've got European specials there. European action with Ballymena United tomorrow morning and some transfer news as well. Tom, I hope I can see you there. It should be fairly easy. You can get the apps on like all the consoles and smart TVs and that. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the support. I'll see you next time.